Today we're going to do a automatic transmission fluid drain and fill, as well as a differential fluid drain and fill on a 4th generation Honda CR-V. So this is a 2013 model, but should be the same for 2012 and up. So I went ahead and gathered all the tools I think we're going to need for today. So we've got a jack and a couple jack stands, a drain pan, something to put your oil in, as well as a funnel and bought a cheap little flexible spout. This is only 50 cents from Walmart. We'll see how well it works today. For ATF, we went genuine Honda. This is the DW1. That's the newer fluid that you want. It replaces the Z1. And we've got a couple of 18 millimeter crush washers. We only need one, but bought a pack of 5. I'll put the part number in the description so you guys can see that. And then for the differential, we've got dual pump fluid too, also genuine Honda, no reason not to. And then crush washers for the back as well. Those are 20 millimeter size. I'll put the part number in the description as well. And then for tools, pretty basic. We've got a Phillips #2 screwdriver to get the plastic cover off for the ATF. 3/8 drive ratchet. You don't need a socket for that, just a 3/8 square drive. And then to put it all back together, we've got a torque wrench. Make sure yours can do 35 foot-pounds. And I think that's it. Probably want to wear some gloves. ATF can be kind of nasty. And if you're crawling around with your face up, safety goggles are always a good idea. So I went ahead and jacked the car up. There's a good spot in the front, right in the middle. Kind of dark, I don't know if you can see. There's a spot right here on the front subframe. And then for the stands, got it on the back there, one on each side, right on the frame as well. I prefer avoiding the pinch welds that you use the scissor jacks on. I feel like these are just a little bit more sturdy. And again, always put your car on stands before you get under it. So we're under the car now, looking from the front left corner. For those of you familiar with changing the oil in the vehicle, this is where you, the access door for that, and then the access door for the ATF just in front of it. And we'll use a Phillips screwdriver, and there's just 2 screws. And then this plastic door will swing down, and you can pull it out of the way. Alright, so we're at the front right of the vehicle now. Switch sides on you to get a better view. And you can probably see it barely. The drain plug is right here. It just got the 3/8 drive head on it. And to get it off, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. Find the freaking thing. There we go. Oh shit, that's tight. Okay. I need to grab a cheater bar here. So, I don't have a 3/8 inch breaker bar. If you have one, be a good time to grab it. Right now I'm just going to use the handle for my floor jack as a cheater bar, and hopefully this will work. Oh, there we go. Hopefully I broke that loose and not my ratchet. Okay, good. Wasn't my ratchet. This is kind of awkward, trying to do this without blocking the camera. And this is probably going to come out pretty fast. So I'll try to avoid Getting my phone soaked in ATF. Here we go. I'm just going to let this drizzle out a little bit slowly first. Once it slows down, I'll get out of the way. So the ATF's pretty much done draining out now, and I went ahead and cleaned up the drain plug. It was mostly just some metal shavings that was built up on the magnet here. Now I'll grab my new crush washer. This is the 18mm size. Just slip it on right over the end. I'll put the smooth side facing towards the transmission. And I'll grab a rag here, actually. And just clean this up a little bit. Screw it back on. Alright, now I've got my 3/8 drive torque wrench, and we're going to torque this to 36 foot-pounds. That's the torque spec. That's pretty much the same on all automatic transmissions for a Honda. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. I got this backwards. Alright. There we go. So now I'm just going to grab the plastic cover and our 2 screws, close everything back up. That's how it goes. And these, just make them hand tight, no need to torque spec them. If I were to guess, I'd guess probably somewhere around 15-20 inch-pounds. There we go. Now we'll move up to the top. So we're up here in the engine bay now. And if you look on the right-hand side, right next to the battery, you'll see a dipstick with a yellow handle. Go ahead and pull that up and out of the way. This is your dipstick for your transmission fluid. And actually, if you look closely, you'll see ATF stamped right there on the rubber grommet. If you look down where you just pull the dipstick out, right there, that's where we're going to fill the ATF. There is no drain plug on this car, so that's where we're going to pour the fluid in. So I grab my funnel and spout, and I'll just shove it down in there. ATF. Just pour it right in. Alright, so I'm on my 4th quart bottle now, and I'm not going to pour this one all the way. Just going to stop about halfway and check the level. I believe this transmission takes only about 3.5 quarts. Not quite. A little bit more. Okay, that's about half. So I'll stop here and check my level with dipstick. And this is not going to be super accurate, just because the engine and transmission have cooled down a little bit now. The level is meant to be checked when everything's warm, but this will at least give us an idea. Make sure you shove it all the way in there before you pull it back up. And it looks like we're still pretty low right now, so I'm going to add a little bit more. So I'll check this one more time. Try not to dribble ATF all over the freaking place. Come on. Alright, looks like we're pretty close now. So I think we'll probably get the rest of the way to the full mark once everything is warmed up. So I'll shove this back in. And again, make sure it's fully seated. And just to give you guys an idea of how much I actually used. This is my 4th bottle, and I don't know if you can see here. The fluid's just about at the 500 mark. Okay, I'm in the car now, and I'm just going to start up the engine and mow it through the gears a couple times. And one more time. Alright. Alright, now we're done with the transmission fluid. So I go ahead and take the jack stands off and lower the car. And now we'll move on to the differential fluid. Alright, so we're here at the back of the car, moving on to the diff fluid change. I went ahead and jacked up the car from the back and put it on stands. And the differential is that big block right there in the middle. And unlike the previous generation CR-Vs, the drain and fill are actually on opposite sides of the diff. So we'll look over at the fill side first. Fill side is right here. There it is right there. Make sure you can break that loose before you drain all the diff fluid out.
Jesus
and then
Christ.
the drain fluid is on this side right here. Alright, so I grabbed my 3/8 drive ratchet, and I got a little wobble extension, short wobble extension on there just to make it a little easier. And to get it off, lefty loosey, righty tighty. There we go. And just like the transmission fluid, the diff drain plug's got this magnet on the end here. And you can see it's kind of covered with grime. So we'll go ahead and wipe that off while this is draining. Alright, so this is just about done draining now. So I'll give this a quick wipe down. And I'll wipe down the drain plug while this is draining. Nice and clean. And why won't you go back in? There we go. Oh, I also forgot to mention that, where'd it go? Shit. I put a new crush washer on. This is a 18 millimeter, so same size as the transmission fluid. Get that back on there. And just get it snug for now. We'll come back later and tighten that up to 36 foot-pounds. Alright, so we're moving on to the fill side. And again, this is a 3/8 drive. Lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. And I'll go ahead and wipe this off a little bit and throw this crush washer away. This is a 20 millimeter size. Unfortunately different from the drain side. Alright, so I grabbed my dual pump fluid we're going to put in the diff. And I forgot to mention this earlier, but I'm going to use a little transfer pump, a little hand-powered pump, to get it up in there. If you don't have one of these or you don't want to buy it, you could actually just get some hose and put the low end down here and then kind of run it up out towards the wheel well and fill from that side. I think this is a little bit easier, so this is the way I'll do it. So in is from the top, I believe. And I had this sitting around from some other fluid change. I think it may have been my brakes. Not sure what was in there, so I flushed it out with water and primed it with the diff fluid first, just to make sure I got any weird goop out first before I put it into my diff. And I'll just put the hose up in there. And this should take a little bit over 1 quart. So I've used up part of the first quart already. This should just go right in, no problem. Hopefully I don't squirt it all over myself. I guess that's the bottom of my first quart. Maybe not. Oh, fuck. Alright, I guess that quart's done. Thanks, bro. Diff fluid doesn't taste very good. So, today's lesson, keep your mouth closed when you're doing fluid changes. Got this all tangled. There we go, that's a little better. So again, this is going to take a little bit more than 1 quart, and the only way you know when it's full is once it starts dribbling out. So I'm going to go a little bit more slowly now, and as soon as I see fluid dribble out the fill hole, I'll stop. There we go. And I got lucky, I was just nearly at the bottom of this bottle here. So, pull this out, let the excess dribble out, and I put my new 20mm crush washer on. I'll let it dribble a little longer. Good. And then just screw it back on. Alright, so last step here, just tighten up the fill and the drain plugs to 36 foot-pounds. I got my torque wrench here already set to that from my transmission fluid change. Oops. Right, and do the same thing, the drain. All right, and we're all done.